Michael Vick here at BetUS.com. Get it all. Huge bonuses, great odds, a race book, live in-game betting, and a casino. BetUS, my online sports book and casino.
You're listening to All Chiefed Up.
This video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
Chiefs Kingdom, ACU crew, welcome back to another live podcast for that ass, Steve. It's Tuesday night. We're hanging out with the Kingdom. What's going on?
Let's go. Nothing, man. Same o. Ready for some Chiefs football. We get a game this weekend. Is the last one?
It's not on the weekend. It's Friday.
Friday. Yeah,
might be Thursday. Is it Thursday or Friday?
I don't even know.
It might be Thursday. It's Thursday,
we're a Chiefs channel. We don't even know when they're playing this week. Think about that for a second, baby.
Well, they've already announced nobody's freaking starting. Nobody's playing. The Browns aren't playing anybody.
It's the least important preseason game. But is it? Because there are some guys that are on the bubble, and they got to show out, man. This is their last-ditch effort.
Thursday
Last-ditch effort to make this roster, brother.
Yeah.
So there's some guys that really need to get out there and horn everybody up.
Yeah, for sure. Thursday. It's wild that we play on a Saturday, come back on a Thursday, but then we don't play for 2 more Thursdays. Then we go right back. Like, the NFL's just going to make half their season on a Thursday. Like, I noticed the Chiefs never play on Sunday. Like, it's pretty rare for us to get a Sunday game anymore. It's pretty wild. Why does primetime include everything but Sunday? It's kind of amazing. But, yeah, thanks for being here tonight, man. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Get this out to more people. Hit that sub button if you haven't. We're over 32,000. We're booking up to 33. We're getting there fast, and we're getting there furious, and it's awesome. Appreciate you guys. Throw some questions in the chat. We're not going to talk too much tonight. We're just going to interact with you guys. Like, we just want to get on here and talk with you guys. It's been a long day. We've been busy. We've been going crazy. We're updating a new system. We're doing all kinds of stuff. We're going crazy. So we didn't get a lot of time to schedule out some kind of like in-depth thing. So let's just talk a little bit. But yeah, the Chiefs say they're not going to roll out any cut options. And we actually heard Dave Tobe today get on the mic, and he said that he's going to pound the table for Nico Remigio. Does that surprise you any?
Not really, man. He's been a fan of Nico since the beginning. Like, as far as a special teams guy, he likes his return capabilities. So it doesn't surprise me at all. And, you know, like you were saying, they haven't rolled out any cuts. They're going to do them all at one time, I think, like after next week. So it's just weird. Like, there's no stair-stepping this year. It's just going to be all at one time. So I don't know, man. I know Nico has won the hearts of a lot of Chiefs Kingdom with his work ethic, just getting out there, doing his thing. He's not a guy that's flashy. He's not a guy that had a crazy RAS score. He's not this crazy athlete. But he was a UDFA that's been working his ass off. He had a little bad luck last year, obviously, with a shoulder injury. He's popped back from that. The coaches like him. Fans like him. So I think he's got a shot to make the squad, especially with Dave Tobe pounding the table for him. But it's still an uphill battle, I think. There's just a lot of good receivers in that room.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like Mecole Hardman is the one that kind of feels like he's on the outside looking in. A lot of people still think that Mecole Hardman is just a lock.
I do.
You think he's a lock at this point? You think he's a lock?
Me personally, no, I would not have him as a lock, but I really think that he has an upper hand on a lot of the guys.
Well, if he's a lock and a starter, why does Tobe come out today and say that he might handle kickoff punt return duties in the final preseason game?
I don't know, man, but I really just have that feeling the way they are with Mecole Hardman. They even signed him back when it was necessary.
Horned up. Brett Veach is more horned up for Mecole Hardman than he is his own wife half the time, it feels. I don't understand it. But I still don't feel like if they were to take 6, that Mecole Hardman is included in that 6.
I don't think so either, but I would not put it past them. Like I've been telling people from day one on this channel, and you know that even if they take 7, I think they should get ready to have Mecole Hardman, Sky Moore, and Kadarius Toney on this roster. Now, Kadarius Toney might have played himself off of it, but other than that, I think the other guys are solid. Like they haven't done anything crazy to make them look any worse, and they love these guys. I'm just saying, man, I think that Nico has a long way to freaking go, because I feel like the other guy on this team that they'd be looking at besides Nico is Justin Ross. And let's be honest here, Justin Ross is a lot bigger weapon, a lot better weapon than Nico Remigio.
Well, he's one up. Justin Ross made the team last year.
Right.
So, look, Justin Ross was actually trending up. And then he ends up going out and doing what he did and screwing himself up. Like, it was kind of dumb. He was starting to get into double-digit snap counts, starting to be used a little bit, and then he kind of shot himself in the foot. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to say Mecole Hardman is like, I fully understand where you're going. I just can't not put it, like, I think it's crazy that Chiefs Kingdom don't buy into Justin Watson as wide receiver 4. Like, the Chiefs have pretty much come out and painted a picture
I'm with you
of it.
on that, too. But for the same reason, I think Mecole's probably going to make the roster because, you know, Mike, a lot of times we sit around, we're talking about this
So
stuff.
who do you think's 5, 6, and 7 then?
Even with the people in the chat, we'll be talking about this stuff. And it's like, hey, sometimes you have to set your own personal opinions and feelings aside, and you have to look at what this team's probably going to do. And, hey, man, history tells me they're going to have Mecole Hardman on this team. No doubt about it. I've called him the herpes of Chiefs Kingdom several times, and there's a reason for it. He just doesn't seem to go away. He will pop back up. So I don't know. Right now, Mike, if I had to guess real quick, and we'll get to this 5 bomb by Perry, but if I had to guess what they would do, I'm going to stick with what I've been saying. I think you got Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, Rashee Rice up top, Justin Watson at number 4, Sky at 5, and I think 6 and 7 is probably going to be Mecole Hardman and either Kadarius Toney or Justin Ross.
Whew. Well, we'll get to Perry's really quick, and then I'll continue back on that. Perry with the 5 bomb. Appreciate you, brother. He says,
go,
just
baby.
got here. Want to say this is the year of the piss missile.
Let's go.
And the NFL needs to get ready to hear Mahomes to Worthy for 30-plus on a loop. Let's freaking
Absolutely,
go.
man.
I believe it. I think Xavier Worthy showed a lot of people a lot the other day, and just the limited action he got. But, boy, you could see when he was on the field, I think it was maybe 12, 16 snaps, somewhere in that range, even when he wasn't getting the ball. And when he wasn't making plays, he was opening the field and making plays. Like, he was doing what we thought he was going to do, right? Everybody said, Steve, that speed's going to take the top off. It's going to open up the middle. And, boy, did it. Xavier Worthy looked like the part out there the other day, in my opinion.
Right, Mike. Everybody knows that I was a big fan of Xavier Legette. Like, that's the guy I thought I would like to see in this Chiefs offense. But I have to say, man, Xavier Worthy, like, they obviously see more than we do. Because, like, I watched tape on that kid. I saw him at the Combine. And that's where I stood. But now that I see Xavier Worthy in this offense, I don't see a lot of those things that I didn't like about him on the tape at Texas. I haven't seen him so far. And I think with the coaches we got and with Andy Reid, we probably won't. So, see, they're always one step ahead of us. You know what I'm saying? They really are.
Well, we tend to focus sometimes on things that you watch in the draft, right? So when you're evaluating, you tend to look at like positives, but you've also got to look at negatives, right? And sometimes we kind of let the negative, I don't want to say outweigh the positive, but you kind of let it pull back on the positive a little bit. Whereas the Chiefs are like, hey, those are negatives, but we're just not going to play to those negatives. We're going to take every positive and just put you in that situation, and you're not going to have that. Now, that's not saying you know, if you drop, you drop.
A lot of the negative that Chiefs Kingdom has about Xavier Worthy, or what they've thought, it's obviously yet to be seen if that's going to be an issue. Because 9 out of 10 people were worried about him being too small, about him getting hurt a lot, this and that. We'll see.
Injuries,
we'll see
beating bump coverage, things like that.
Right. So far, he's been pretty good with physical coverage. He's running excellent routes. He's running hard. He's creating separation. He's wide the hell open a few times. Like, I mean, there was no one even around him.
Those were all things and positives that stuck out on his college tape. But like we would both say, well, he took plays off. Well, we should have known that if Andy's going to draft you, he's not going to let you do that. Kick your ass. You're not going to do that.
Right. But so far, man, he's doing exactly what they want him to do. He's stretching the field. He's running good routes. He's getting open. He's creating opportunities for splash plays, get that offense a little more firepower. That's what he's doing, man. I think he's going to continue to do it. I'm super excited about it. Appreciate the 5-bomb, Perry. We got a
we got
2-bomb
KT with a
Chief
2-bomb,
KT, baby. He said the
He said
Chiefs aren't going to risk losing Ross.
Ross.
We said at the same time, Mike. Jinx.
Right. So, but look, I said loss because I realized we were saying it at the same time and I didn't want to do it.
You weren't supposed to talk, so you owe me something now too because I jinxed you.
But look, the Chiefs aren't going to risk
talk.
losing Ross, so he's saying that they are going to take him. Well, we're under the same kind of impression. I think if you put him on the practice squad, he may be gone this year.
Yeah,
Now, look,
absolutely.
100%.
100%.
He survived practice squad before, but I think there's just more hype out there now. Yeah,
well, it's not even that there's more hype. There's teams that need someone like him.
Right. I think like the Bengals would do it out of spite.
The Bengals would have to do it anyway. It'd be stupid for them not to. With them not being able to pay T. Higgins, they're going to grab Justin.
They
Ross.
may take. I wouldn't be surprised if them or the Raiders or Sean Payton and the just anybody. Like the Chiefs are getting so many enemies. I feel like no matter who we put on the practice squad, there's going to be a bunch of people just swipe them so we can't fall back on
I think he's a valuable piece, man. I think if he was actually used more, he was able to get comfortable in an NFL offense, I think he could do some damage. I think other people know that. It's just so happened he plays for the Chiefs where Andy Reid don't necessarily use guys like that a lot, and he's been rotating out a lot. He didn't get a lot of opportunities. I think that a lot of teams would take a shot on Justin Ross and actually put him out there. Like, that's the difference. I think they would put him on the field.
Right. There's some guy that runs around Chiefs Kingdom. I forget his name. I was talking to Marcus Dash about him, and he said he always comes into my show, and he's always like, just cut Ross and let him go somewhere where they'll use him properly. He'll be awesome. But I think a lot of people are on that, right?
Yeah, but Chief KT, the thing about it is, I'm with you. I don't think they can really risk losing him by putting him on the practice squad. But then again, like, do they even care? So, I mean, I guess we're going to find out. But I don't know if they even care.
Well,
because
we think
if they're not using them, what does it matter?
Right, 100%. We think Nico would last on the practice squad over Justin Ross.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think so. And honestly, I think Mecole Hardman would last longer on the practice squad.
I do too. No, other teams
I just don't know about Mecole Hardman being like a sought-out commodity. Right.
Well, he's not. One team wanted him when we didn't sign him back
Jets,
the first time.
And two UDFAs beat him.
Yeah, he couldn't even really get on the field there. Then he showed his ass there. None of the players liked him. None of the coaches liked him. Then he comes back and they're saying that he cheated or whatever.
Yeah, that's weird.
Which I don't think was a thing. But even if that's what's out there about him, do you think anybody wants him on their team? Absolutely not.
Rob, appreciate you, Chief KT, with a 2-bomb. Rob with a 499 with a 5-bomb from Rob. He says Mahomes is climbing up the all-time yards and TDs list so fast. Let's go. Yeah, it's not going to take too long. I said this the other day, and I think it holds true. There's a huge debate about the GOAT, you know. Is it Brady? You've got the Brady homers. You've got the Chiefs and the Mahomes. You got the Mahomers, okay? So you've got one or two. But I think, like, looking at what Patrick Mahomes has done by the time he's 27, 28 years old and compare that to Brady, it's not even close. It's not even close the way it's going. So I think Brady has achieved all of his stuff through longevity, whereas Patrick Mahomes has achieved all of his stuff to this point through just sheer talent. And I think that if Mahomes were to play till he's 45 years old like Brady did, he shouldn't have a problem passing him. But right. If he wants to have a normal life and be, you know, with his wife and kids and not play till he's 56 years old and he cuts himself off at, say, 35, 36, yeah, at the end of it, Brady probably will still have him in a lot of categories because he's just not going to play as long, right?
Did you see Stephen A. Smith and Tom Brady talking about the subject?
I did see a little clip. I didn't see all of it, but Tom Brady actually spoke well of Mahomes. He always does.
Of course he does. But, I mean, Tom Brady even all but said, that, like, hey, it depends on a few things. Like, is he going to stay motivated now that he's already got 3?
Right.
Like, that's the big thing. Is he going to be able to keep relating to younger players the older he gets and keeping his locker room down? Because he says that Mahomes wins not only on the field, but also by how he carries himself in interviews, how he carries himself off the field, how he leads the team, which is all true, right? And he's like, if he continues to have that drive and he can continue to connect to the younger players that are coming into the league, and then he can prioritize his home life to the side and work, then, yeah, he thinks he could get there too. Like,
look, if he's going to connect, though, he's got to start learning some of that new musics.
Yeah,
he's been talking
that
about.
clip was pretty good. He said, I don't know this new music.
I listen to a lot of new musics. Dude, yeah. Thanks, Rob, for the 5-bomb. Appreciate you, brother. Pop's in the house with a 10. He says, Pop says KT is a slap nuts.
I've noticed Pop's talking about himself in the third person a lot lately. I don't know what's going on.
This guy has went complete third person on everyone. And he says that KT is a slap nut.
The next thing we know, he's going to change his name to a symbol like Prince.
Oh, man. Do they have a symbol for fat?
There might be one. Appreciate
There
the
might be
10 bomb, old man.
Appreciate you.
KT is kind of a slap nut, though. Like, I feel like he's got himself in a bad position.
He's in
like bad.
He's in a horrible position, Steve. I was talking about this the other day. It was with you. Like, this dude is trying to fight himself on the roster, and he's relegated himself to Ian Book.
Right.
Like, what are you going to do with Ian Book as your quarterback? You better learn how to block because he's going to leave the pocket, 8 out of 10 plays.
Well, I mean, it kind of all goes together, right? Because way back to what Chief KT was saying about them not wanting to lose Justin Ross, that's something. But at the same time, it's like, are they ready to give up completely on KT? Like, a lot of the fan base is. I think everybody here is kind of okay if Kadarius Toney don't play for the team this coming year.
I would say there's a small percentage, like maybe 30% of Chiefs Kingdom. There's still behind Kadarius Toney pretty hardcore.
I mean, until he takes off the red and gold, Mike, I'm right there with it. Like, get it together, buddy.
Right, I want to see him succeed.
But like, that's the thing. We've seen a lot of people in the comments on our last video that were saying things like, there was one guy that said something about, hey, I just have this feeling, man. Like, if we let him go, he could still turn it on. And I think some people still think that, like, they see or think what KT could be. And the thing I have to say, Mike, is, like, sometimes people aren't who you think they are. Like, you can like make up how a person is in your head or what they could be, but in reality, that's not who they are. So, I mean, you got to ground yourself a little bit. Like, if the Chiefs are like, hey, he's just not going to be what we expected, he could be the one that goes because they could be trying to save somebody like Justin.
It's kind of like Ravens fans with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
And Chargers fans with Justin Herbert.
They're not Patrick Mahomes. Sorry.
They're just not him. Like Bills fans with Josh Allen. He's just not – it's not Mahomes. Move on. Appreciate the 10 bomb, Pops. Steve, back to what I was going to say earlier because somehow in my old age I remembered – another
that doesn't
guy
happen very often. Though.
Another guy that people are really wanting to see out the door, and I'm seeing it more and more and more every single day. And I know you've seen it. You can probably say it before I say it. Running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Everybody is wanting him gone. They wanted this.
It's almost like
year.
It's last season, right?
Yeah, but it just shifted over the past 2 weeks. I don't know who in the Chiefs community spoke ill of him.
Probably the same one that did it the first time.
Yeah,
if I had to guess.
They spoke ill of him, and then all of a sudden it's a wavelength went through our computer screens and brainwashed everyone.
I love you guys. I love Chiefs Kingdom to death, but I tell you, when certain talking heads say something, you have to hear it
take a
989 times, right?
Yeah, and that's me included half the time. I don't consider myself a talking head, but I mean I do have a head and I speak a lot. But I will say this. Onto that subject, I don't think Clyde's going anywhere. I think that's really irritate people, but I don't think Clyde's going anywhere. I think Clyde is basically a roster lock. Now, look, the Chiefs could come out and be like, look, the PTSD's flaring up. He's got that sickness he's talking about. Like, maybe Clyde just comes to the team and is like, look, I don't know how I'm going to be. Like, let's just let me take the season off, kind of like a medical red shirt. And maybe they work out some kind of a put him on the IR, reach a settlement and not put him on the – something like that could happen totally. But if Clyde wants to play, I believe he's got a spot here.
I think so too, man. And I kind of covered this. I don't remember if it was on a video or the last live stream we did. But we were talking about this subject, Mike. And here's the way I feel about it is Isaiah Pacheco, he's RB1, right? He is. He's going to get the bulk of the carries. Isaiah Pacheco plays balls to the wall 100% all the time, 110%. He's already had to have a shoulder surgery. He's definitely prone to being injured because of the way he runs the ball. I mean, he seeks contact. He runs 110%. So it's like, if he were to go down, what do you feel comfortable with there? A UDFA and Carson Steele? I love Carson Steele, and I think he's going to be excellent. But he's never played in an NFL game before other than preseason. So you have him. You have Deneric Prince, who also is in sort of the same boat. UDFA, never really played. You have no experience after Isaiah Pacheco. if he were to go down. Like none.
You don't have experience, but you also don't have a guy in Carson Steele. You've got a guy that runs hard, and you don't have a guy that's got a huge injury history. So he proves to be reliable.
I get that, but
forward for 2
where's
and
the
3
safety
yards
net?
a carry. Whereas Clyde, if he gets hit in the hole, he's done.
I'm good with all that. And I'm good with Carson still getting the bulk of the carries if Pacheco went down. But you still need some glue there. You need some kind of a safety net. Clyde's a guy that's been in this league for 5 years now. He knows the Chiefs' offense, and we know he can be effective. Yeah, there are times where he's not that great. There's also times where he's injured. But we've seen him play well also. Last year, he ran the ball hard every time he got a chance to do so. We know he can receive the ball out of the backfield. He made a great catch in the end zone last year. There's lots of little things Clyde does right. And just having that experience goes a long way. If you don't have him on the roster and Pacheco goes down, you're dealing with a bunch of guys that are noobs. Literally.
Yeah, I think that's one thing. Like, there's a line. Like, when you're chasing a three-peat, okay? When you're chasing a three-peat, you're chasing history. I feel like Veach and I feel like Andy, like, if you're in their shoes, like, it's easy for us out here that don't have any stake in the, we don't have any money in the pot, so to say, right? If we push in a stupid idea and lose, big deal. We bust and nothing happens. But these guys are running NFL franchises. They've got jobs with millions of dollars. Like, they've got their egos. They've got all this stuff on the line, right? So as Andy and as Brett Veach and everybody else within the Chiefs organization, don't you have to look at things like this like, hey, we're on the precipice of doing something amazing. But a lot of the fans are so willing to just say, hey, we're great. We've got 5 or 6 roster spots there at the end that we can just hum-ho around and give it to anybody. Like, we want to find the next big thing. Like, we want all 53 roster spots to be Pro Bowlers. Like, that's what everybody wants. Like, if it's Clyde, he don't do enough. If it's, Mecole Hardman, he don't do enough. Sky Moore hasn't produced in 2 years. Kick him out. Like, we're quick. And I feel like Brett and all them have to see it as kind of like the way Pops was talking yesterday. And we were bringing up the whole, would you trade Carson Wentz for a 3rd-round pick? And what did Pops say? No, because Carson Wentz, if Mahomes were to miss time, helps keep the shot of the three-peat alive. So I think that if you look at that perspective and you say, okay, yeah, cut Clyde. He's dead weight. Let's bring in all these noobs. Well, now you're taking a shot at, you bring in noobs that aren't experienced and aren't good, and maybe they get in a situation and crap the bed, and you're like, I wish I would have just had the guy that knew the playbook.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I feel like maybe there's a fine line, and they have to keep some of these guys here at the end of the roster that the kingdom wants gone, because like I said, we're shooting for the moon with every player. But they just see it as, hey, we need people to right the ship sometimes. And we need people to teach people in the locker room. You know what I'm saying? Like, Clyde's a good locker room guy. Sky, not the greatest football player on the planet, but he works hard. He's a good kid. He doesn't get in trouble. He's goofy. Like, there's lots of good attributes to like about him. So I feel like we just all forget that sometimes.
Well,
and I feel like from their perspective, that's hard.
I was actually thinking about that the other day. I just happened to be on Instagram just scrolling when I had a minute. And I saw a picture that Sky Moore had posted. It was just his pregame fit, him going into the game. And then it had like a picture or two of him in the game. And it's funny because that was this last preseason game when he had that nice little return, right? And it was like something positive for a guy that's literally just been running to the ground for years now. Well, like, if you go to the comments, the first 10 comments on that are literally other guys in the locker room just trying to prop this kid up. You had a Hollywood Brown. You even had MVS, who don't even play for us anymore, over there in Buffalo, also being like, hey, man, we see you, man.
The team has to stick together because everybody on the outside is not behind any of these dudes. Like, if they want them gone, they're gone.
Right. That's just the point I'm making. But, yeah, I think Clyde's a good locker room guy. I think Clyde's a good safety net. I do. Like, a lot of people, I think I've seen in the chat a couple times people saying, well, we need to sign McKinnon back. But I don't think it's happening. I don't. And let's be honest here. I mean, Jerick McKinnon, yeah, at his top, like, I don't even have a hard time saying that. But, like, maybe the way Jerick McKinnon fit into this offense for that one season made him better than Clyde. And he's better at picking up and pass protection than Clyde. But, I mean, you could literally use Clyde the same way they used Jerick McKinnon that year.
That is how they're going to use Clyde this year. Like, a lot of people are acting like they're just going to run him into the back of the line 10 times a game. But
That's what they need to do.
I think he's going to be more of a third down kind of guy.
Right, because that's what Clyde is. Clyde is definitely a receiving back. If Clyde could step up his game in pass pro, like he could kind of be what McKinnon was. And let's be honest here, McKinnon only had one big year. Like last year, he wasn't that effective. They didn't even use him a whole lot. It was just that one season where he really went off that everybody's so horned up about, and they won't forget it, you know. But it's the same way they won't forget like a bad season by a player. They won't forget a good one either. So it goes both ways.
That's true. It's just weird. It's fascinating to like break down players and schedules, and like, you know, the majority of people. If you do things by majority rule, sometimes you can get in trouble. Like, let's be honest. That's why. I mean, that's why a lot of things aren't just majority rule.
K. Wayne, you have Dalvin Cook money, buddy? Do you have Dalvin Cook money? We don't have Dalvin Cook money. We're eating hamburger helper tonight. Okay.
What would Dalvin Cook want for a season?
Probably a lot more than Clyde.
I'm gonna look it up. John, look up Dalvin Cook.
Yeah,
contract.
look that up for us, man.
Look
We
it
need
up.
a John.
What's he got? Okay, his last contract was 5 years, $63 million. 2022, 2023, he signed a 1-year deal for $7 million. 5.8 guaranteed. So if he was anywhere near that, I mean, we have the money. We've got about $13 million. But do you want to spend it all on a Dalvin Cook? I don't know. Is Dalvin Cook washed a little bit?
Yeah, some. And also, you got to think, like, he would only be taking the role of a CEH. It's not like you're getting some feature back. You know what I'm saying?
And, well, here's another thing, too. You routinely see the running back position. You see them bounce around late in their careers, right? Because they don't usually get those second contracts. They bounce. You ever notice once they start bouncing around, they're never that effective?
No.
And
It's
that's the
always
reason
when
they
they're-
don't get the second and the third contracts.
It's
So I feel
always
like, why
when
would
they're,
you want to
you know,
do it?
they have to get into a system that fits for them and works for them. Like, think about Le'Veon Bell, man.
Oh, that's
When
what I
he-
was just going to bring up. When he
I mean,
come
when he
over
was
here,
in
he was
Pittsburgh,
trash.
yeah, when he was in Pittsburgh, he was unstoppable. And then he, you know, it's like once he starts chasing that money, he ends up with the Jets. He ends up here or there. He never fit again. Things don't align that way, but
Right.
it is
We
what
do
it
have
is.
15. We have 15 million on the cap right now in our top 51. So I
Right,
mean, it's
well-
there, and we're going to get into where I think they could possibly spend it in just a second. But Steve, Kyle, HD Chiefs fan, our boy,
Shout out,
member for
Kyle.
11 months, says I get the CH experience, but is his availability going to suffer due to his PTSD?
I don't think
it's
it's going to be any different than
possible.
it has been. I mean, Clyde didn't develop PTSD overnight. I think Clyde's been dealing with this for years.
Right. Do you
so
think they're just
it-
letting him kind of work it out because it's preseason? I think they know he's on the team and they don't care.
Well, I mean, you have to think last year. I mean, Mike, I remember because we cover this stuff every day. But even last year, he missed a lot of time due to sickness. And we even talked about, we're like, what's up with Clyde? Like, why does he keep recurring? Like,
Right. And if
sickness?
you
Like, what
remember,
is it?
who tore it up? P-Run. Everybody was P-Run, horned up
I
on
mean,
the PP.
the same stuff's been going on for a
and
couple
he
years
stunk
now.
once he got in and played against first team. The dude was ineffective, highly ineffective, and he's gone.
Yeah,
So-
I think that's the way you got to look at Clyde, honestly. But shout out Kyle, being a member for 11 months and just being an awesome human being. We appreciate you, buddy. But like that's the thing, you got to look at Clyde now. You can't look at him as the RB1 feature back that you thought they were getting with a number one, you know, a first round draft pick, should I say? But Clyde is that guy, I think, that has the experience and can put in enough snaps for you at a third down back situation.
Do you need Clyde to be a number one
No,
Pro Bowler?
no, absolutely
see,
not.
that's the thing. That's another thing that I think a lot of people struggle with. Everybody on your team cannot be the best player at their position. You know what I'm trying to say?
Right.
Like you can't have 53 just top tier guys. Like they got to play roles.
Well,
and I don't know. It's tough.
Well, you have to step back. Like I said, so they drafted Clyde in the first round, which was a big miscue. Everybody knows that. But I think, like, from a Chiefs fan perspective, you still think of him as having to reach that potential. But I think if you step back away from it and be like, look, he's never going to be that. Absolutely not. But they did re-sign him, right? They re-signed him for another year. But I think, how can you use Clyde to where he's effective? And it's also, like you mentioned earlier, he's a guy that's awesome in the locker room. Like, the players love him. Like, everybody likes Clyde. Clyde also knows the playbook. Clyde also can give you production and small doses.
Clyde
I
might
think
be.
I think there's
he
a
may-
place for him.
Right. He may also be valuable at like teaching these younger guys like Carson Steele the playbook, teaching Deneric Prince, giving them the ins and outs, the ropes. I don't know. I mean, there might be something there to experience, but again, everybody just wants that home run hitter at all 4 positions, and I don't know if that's necessarily what Andy and them are looking for. So,
Yeah, not for sure about that. I think he is what he is. He's going to play a part, right? That's how you have to kind of look at it. Like, think about back to let's look back like maybe a basketball comparison. If you go back to the '90s, and you had these like teams like let's say the '90s Bulls with Phil Jackson, or you could even go like early 2000s Lakers with Phil Jackson.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you have your star players. You got the guys that are out there doing the work day in and day out. But if they didn't have those glue players there that just did the little things and played their role.
you have Tony Kukoc.
Right. I mean, there's always that guy. I think with the Lakers, you had to look at like Robert Ory. Like that guy did nothing. But guess what? He was clutch as hell.
He hit
like,
the three
like,
every once
right,
in a while,
so, Like you have to have guys that play a small part. Everybody can't be Michael Jordan. You know what I'm saying? Or Kobe.
You get too many cooks in the kitchen.
Too many chefs.
Too many chefs, too many cooks, too many Brian Cooks in the kitchen, baby. I don't know.
Yep.
So anyway, back to another thing that was kind of, wild today. Brett Veach kind of come out and said something, or well, not Brett Veach didn't, but Spagnuolo kind of made a thing about maybe a corner.
Yeah. I
Why
saw
you
that.
give me this? You just don't.
You're cutting in and out really bad. I don't know if it's you or me, but I'm just going to roll with it. Like you've been freezing up for like 2 minutes. But I got a 5-month member from Bout Time. What's up, my man? He said 5 months my ass. YT's messing up. I'm over here downing bottles of Blue Chews for ACU action. I'm horned. Is it only 5 months? Sometimes if you don't have the subscription and you just try to re-up it yourself when you can remember, like it'll start you over. So, if you've been around for longer than 5 months, shout out for that. But, yeah, if you don't have that subscription set in, sometimes it'll reset you from the beginning.
Yeah. Is everything good back now?
Yeah, you're back in action now. I don't know if it was you or me, but
no, it was me because I had a window on my computer freeze and it just froze everything. It was running in the background, but yeah, it kind of sucks. Couldn't do nothing about it. But yeah, I don't know. It's wild. But anyways, yeah, back to what I was gonna say was they were talking about corner and CB2. I don't think you think CB2 is that big of a deal. Like, is it so big of a deal that you got to go out and just get one of these old guys off the free agency market and overpay him?
no. That's the short answer.
Yeah, I don't see it.
That's the short answer. I just don't think so. But yeah, they've had a lot of injuries there. That's kind of stalling out who they think they could make for the CB2. But it is what it is. Like, you either stick with what you got and hope the injuries don't plague you that much. But I think, they had a lot of faith in Nazi Johnson, and he can't stay healthy ever. And then he's not looked that great in camp. They had a lot of faith in Joshua Williams because he's got all the tools, but now he's dealing with a hamstring injury. Jalen Watson's missed a boatload of time over his 2 years with this, that, and the other. So, I do think that, but I think that also opens up a lot of space for people like Kamal Haddon that they're not giving a lot of time to in preseason, but hey, what if that young kid could do it? Throw him into the fire just like you did Joshua Williams, the same way you did Jalen Watson. Let's see what he can do. Or even a guy that's revamping his career like Kelvin Joseph. I don't think you necessarily have to go outside of the locker room to figure this out.
Yep, I agree. But, yeah, if you guys got any questions, throw them in the chat, man. We'll talk about whatever. It's just been kind of a slow day. It's been kind of a slow week. We did have to sign a new long snapper, Steve. Winchester hurt his shoulder. How you like that?
I figured something was going on with old Winchester when I saw Noah Gray out there that much, but
it also come out today. They said Travis Kelce was the backup long snapper.
Is he really though?
That's what they said. Not Noah Gray. It's him. I guess he was in there because Kelsey wasn't going to come back on the field. So,
Yeah. I don't know, man. We'll see about that. I don't know if I could see Kelsey out there being a long snapper. Is she Emmer? I don't know how to say this. I'm just going to call you Ish. Says, what's Clyde's role to lose us 3 yards every time they run the ball with him? Well, so I would counter that with the fact that Clyde has averaged 4.2 yards per carry in his career. So there's that. So I don't think he loses 3 yards every time he carries the ball. So I mean, in comparison, I mean Jamal Charles holds the record for yards per carry. Am I right?
yes.
In the entire freaking ever. Like, what was his? 5 yards? Like, where's it at? I wish I could find it. But he's like a little over 5 yards on average, 5.4 yards, and he is the all-time leader in that stat.
Well, look, going back to that, then what is Clyde? So how many carries does he have in total?
Well, I'm just saying
Because
per
he has
carry.
had
So
tons
on
of carries,
average,
I guess.
on average, he's averaging 4.2 yards. Jamal Charles was 5.4, and Jamal Charles is the all-time NFL leader in that stat. So, I mean, I think it's unfair to say Clyde loses 3 yards every time he carries the ball. Does Clyde get stuffed a lot? Yeah, but so do our other running backs. Let's be honest here. We don't call the best running plays in our scheme. A lot of times it's delayed handoffs that don't go for crap, or it's so telegraphed that everyone and their grandma and their grandma's grandma knows that we're running the ball on second down. I mean, That's just what it is.
I agree. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, if you go back to his rookie season, I think everybody would agree that was his best season. He averaged 4.4 yards per attempt. If you go to year 2, he went down to 4.3. If you go to 2022, he went down to 4.2. So he's losing like a 6 inches every year. He'll be down to normal. Last year was his worst. 2023.
Mike, there's only one player on this team that can handle losing 6 inches
Right.
a year, and that's Chris Jones, baby.
For sure. But yeah, last year he had 70 attempts, 3.2 yards a carry. So not the worst.
Hey, I see where K. Wayne said, come on, everybody, hit that horn button. Can we rename the like button the horn button?
I wish you could get it on there and just make it say it.
Hey, guys, if you don't care, take a second and go hit that horn button for us. It gets it out to more people, and we can have some fun. But I just want to bring this comment up from LCF, Typical Beast. Shout out. Haven't seen you in the chat before, so good to see you. Says Clyde is solid on passing downs. If we use him as a receiver out of the backfield when Pacheco is gassed, could be helpful. That's exactly what I'm seeing for Clyde, in my vision, is like being that guy, because what Clyde excels at in his game since college is receiving out of the backfield. And we've yet to use him that way very much. I don't think Clyde's a guy that you give 20 carries to a game. I just don't think he's ever going to be that. But I think he could definitely do what Jerick McKinnon did two years ago and be a weapon out of the backfield as far as receiving. I mean, I think we saw that in flashes over his career. I mean, even last year I brought up that one catch in the back of the end zone.
No, the best Clyde's ever done catching the ball was his rookie season. Again, is it any indication as to why people thought his rookie year was the best? They actually used him properly in a way. He had 36 catches, I believe, that year, and he's not got over 20 catches the rest of in any season. So they're just not using him that way anymore. They used him like that in year 1, but they just stopped doing it.
Yeah. Okay, well, I said Winchester said, I'm sick of all these other players getting all the attention. I'll get myself on the injury list so they remember I'm a long-time vet.
Gosh.
Dude, Winchester is kind of like that guy that's flown under the radar, just been solid for years, you know.
You think Kelsey can just move over to long snapper when his tight end days get a little slow, and he can play till he's like 50?
Why not? Sam Lofton said, scary that Lucas Niang is our backup tackle. Hope Taylor gets better quick. It is scary, and I've brought that up a couple times. I don't think our offensive line depth is very impressive, but I will say that I saw a major improvement from the second and third team guys in game 2 than I did game 1. Game 1 of the preseason, they looked atrocious, and I was a little worried. Feeling a little bit better about it after week 2. I do hate that Lucas Niang is the next guy up. Chew Godric is another guy that I just feel like isn't there yet. I saw him get absolutely roasted a lot. So I don't have a whole lot of faith in Chew. And that's kind of what else do you even got at the tackle position? If Wanye's been battling injuries, but I mean, I think Wanye's the next guy in line. But It wouldn't necessarily be Lucas Yang if Wanye was healthy, would it?
Look, I'm not a Lucas Niang fan. It's just I'm not.
You're not?
But I'm going to say this. He's not looked as bad this preseason as he had last year. He looked like he got better.
Mike,
I want you
to quit acting like you're not the biggest Lucas Yang fan. I know if you could pan that camera over to the right just a little bit, you got a giant Lucas Yang fat head on the wall.
Dude.
You got posters.
Well, here's what I'm saying.
Jerseys.
He's played 51 snaps in the preseason. Do you want to take – how many penalties do you think he's got?
Who, Niang?
0. He's allowed 0 sacks. He's only allowed 2 pressures. I mean, that's good for Lucas Niang.
Something else that you need to keep in mind, too, and I think a lot of people forget this because he's been injured, but Joe Tooney, when healthy, can play a tackle position. And he's pretty good. You don't want to put him there, but I mean, in a pinch. It kills
me when everybody's like, just put him out at left tackle.
No. That's a terrible idea. But in a pinch, he's done it before.
Right. But
I'm just saying
Lucas Niang, I'm not a huge fan, but at the same time, he has looked a little better. PFF give him he's got a 65 overall PFF grade in the preseason this year. If you look back at what he did last year, in the regular season, he had a 47. So he's upped himself 10 points per PFF. So, and that's a really hard system to grade high with a lineman. So I thought he's looked a little better. I don't trust him. Do I want him on the team? Probably not. I would prefer to have 3 other tackles ahead of Lucas Niang, but beggars can't be choosers, I guess.
It is what it is. Does Mike have a Niang chub? Mike, don't be lying to us about your Niang fandom. We all know. Gary Holland says, Mike and Steve, does Reed use Wentz this year for Patrick Mahomes? I don't.
For like what? For like short, like sneaks or
I think
something?
that's what he's thinking. I don't think you'll see Wentz unless you have to. Let's just put it that way. I don't think they're ever going to have a package where they put somebody else in to do a quarterback sneak or any kind of short yardage stuff. I think you're only going to see Wentz win if Patrick Mahomes isn't going for whatever reason. But, I mean, there's times, and obviously we don't want anything to happen to Pat, but there are times even where there are smaller injuries or just like inconveniences in games where he has to be pulled out. Like, what was the game when he hurt his ankle initially? I think it was a playoff game against Jacksonville, and he's losing his mind over there because he don't want to go out and go get an X-ray and do everything he has to do. He's cussing Andy Reid and his grandma and everybody else on the sideline because he's so mad. But, I mean, in that situation, I think it was Henne at the time. He held down everything, right? Like, he kind of righted the ship. I think you can very well use Carson Wentz for a backup position. You're not going to feel bad about Carson Wentz.
Crushes Chad Henne.
Yeah, it's not even comparable.
That's not even in the same ballpark.
Right, so it's nice to have that.
He's better than Bortles ever thought about being, too. So, I don't know. I have no reserve if Carson Wentz has to come in.
No, I don't feel bad, It's kind of like back when Alex Smith went down, but we had Nick Foles. It's like, we'll be all right. Let him heal. Let him get back. Let him do what he got to do. Trey says Donovan Smith sounds real good right about now. Mike, I honestly don't think we need Donovan Smith. I never have. I wasn't a big fan of him to begin with. I like the man himself okay, and I think he's an okay player, but I don't think he's anything that ever moved the needle there. I think he was somebody that played a role for us when we needed it, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not completely against him being on the roster for depth purposes. I just wouldn't want them to use him instead of putting one of our young boys out there. Like I think like having someone like Donovan Smith on the team and actually starting him at left tackle hinders you from developing someone like a Kingsley Suamataia. Now, if you have Donovan Smith as a backup to be like a swing tackle, I can roll with that.
Yeah, I would take maybe him as a backup swing tackle. If you'd want to trade him out with Lucas Niang, go for it. I'm not for sure how much Lucas Niang makes. Wonder how much he makes. Like, what's his contract?
I think $7.25 an hour is the minimum wage.
I don't know if that is.
What's minimum wage in Missouri, actually? That's Kentucky. Good grief. How is that minimum wage? Anyway, I think that's what he makes.
He makes a base of basically just $1 million.
Hey, guys, hold on real quick. Just while we're here, I just want everybody, we can have a group therapy. Where the hell did we go wrong in life that Lucas Niang has a base salary of $1 million a year, and we're out here trying to figure out how to buy groceries because it's
That's
$300 a bag now.
Yeah, that's weak too.
What's happening, dude?
1 million. You think Donovan Smith signs for 1 million?
Can you imagine getting a job and never having to work a day of it, but just getting paid $1 million a year? Not saying he don't work and go to practice and stuff, but he's not. I mean, has he really played that much? Let's be honest.
He's not relied upon too much, right? It's kind of like if you're McDonald's. You're kind
Where
of the
did we
guy.
go wrong, bro?
Like Mahomes, he's out here taking the orders. Kelsey's like putting them in the bag. Niang's like the guy that like washes the dishes in the bag.
Maybe I don't know. What does he do?
He's that dishwasher, son. He's cleaning the toilet.
That's funny. About time says, "Watch your mouth. Anything is possible." Carson Wentz is light years better than Henne, though. I mean, everybody likes Chad Henne, but come on. We know they're not in the same league. I don't think. I honestly think Carson Wentz. Obviously, something happened after his injury. I don't know if it's mental or what, and his gameplay wasn't at like what it was before. But before he went down with injury, he was an MVP candidate. His team went on and won the Super Bowl that year with Nick Foles. But like, I think Carson Wentz in the right situation could be a starter in the NFL. I'm not sure why it didn't work out with the Commanders or the Rams.
Carson Wentz could
you
totally
imagine-
start for the
Raiders?
The Raiders.
100%. I was going to say, do you really think that Carson Wentz? I guarantee you, Carson Wentz is a better quarterback than Gardner Minshew. I'd put money on that right now.
Our backup's better than their starter.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm not just saying that to be a jerk because I hate the Raiders.
No,
I believe that.
I'm a firm believer that if Oladokin was on that team, he'd push to start on that team.
Oladokin.
I'd take Oladokin over Aiden O'Connell, and probably over, that dude with that wild hair.
Cornell Powell's been nearly a $1 million a year practice squad player. That's good money, KSU says. I'm jealous, bro. Like, I wish I could make $1 million a year to be like the guy that doesn't really have to do anything. That'd be pretty cool. Like, you just show up, bro. Like, just show up, and you're gonna make your money. Kay Wayne says, if I were Wentz, I'd sign a sweet 5-year deal to be Henne 2.0. I think Wentz is in a good spot for him and the Chiefs. I do, but I wouldn't be surprised if he don't get a chance eventually to be a starter in the league. With people like Gardner Minshew starting out there.
How old is he? He may have already just got to the point where he says, hey, let's just be a backup, make that money, go play golf, win some championships.
Wentz some championships.
See
what I did there? He's 31, man. So, I mean, he's not a he's not a spring chicken, but, I mean, he's not, like, old either.
Right.
So,
he's probably got a chance to play, but.
Casey Moe with
go.
the gifted membership. Appreciate you, brother. Growing the ACU crew.
What's up,
doing
brother?
The Lord's work.
Why? Why was sketch a thing for, like, a month?
I don't know.
Why was
I don't
that
know
a
why.
thing?
I don't know why a lot of things are things, bro.
Just come out of nowhere for like 3 weeks, and then it just disappeared fast as it came on. Life's weird. Like, living in 2024 is weird.
Yeah, it's
really
very,
weird.
very, very strange. All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you hanging out with us for a little while tonight. Make sure to get your comments in and everything. Hit that like button real quick if you haven't already. Also, subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you're watching on X, make sure to retweet this bad boy out to everybody else. If you're watching on Facebook, we appreciate you. Hit that like button. I see 10 of you have already, so that's pretty sweet. And, of course, if you're here on YouTube, hit that like button as well. But, yeah, so we're going to find out, like, in the not-too-distant future, how this 53-man is going to roll out, Mike. And I think there's so many different possibilities. I know we'll probably take a stab at a 53-man roster prediction right before that happens.
Yeah, for sure.
I think there's just so many different ways this could go, and it's the thing you have to remember is a lot of the battles. We always talk about position battles here and there, but sometimes it's not just about them battling people in their own position. It's about what's more valuable. I don't think that the team looks at the team as a whole and says we have to have this many people in this position. I think they take the best 53 players they have And if one position's one down and one position's one up, it is what it is.
Yeah, I agree. It's not a job I envy, to be honest. Like, could you imagine trying to pick, like, do you think you're going to need a 6 linebacker or a 6 corner? Like, the way it's looking, there's so many guys that are going to get cut. I cannot find a way to reasonably put Kamal Hadden on this team right now. And that kind of irritates me.
I don't know how you get to that point. I feel like he's like you're taking.
Have you looked at the latest depth chart?
No, I get it, but
They've
I mean,
made it even harder. Chamari Connor's not even listed as a safety anymore. He's just a corner,
right?
And they're only going to take 5.
It depends on how they go with that. I mean, you had people like Ely and other guys they had on the roster before. They moved them around positions here and there, but it don't necessarily mean anything. They could still put him on the team as a safety. I mean, you have to think. Would you think
But even
that,
at 4 safeties, it was tough to get them on if you only take 5
right?
corners.
But I mean, I'm just saying if you take 4 safeties and Chamari Connor's not one of them, where are you going? Bush? Is Bush really more valuable to the team than say a corner that you just drafted? Might have some upside. I doubt it. So I mean, I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
I don't know.
But,
It's just a wild scenario.
I think there's definitely a scenario where you can get him on the roster. I think for guys like Miles Battle and then maybe even Echo Boy Doe, like those are the guys that probably can't find a spot on the roster.
That's kind of weird though, because look, Echo Boy Doe actually played snaps with us last year. He played on the practice squad for a full year, and you don't think he's got just as good of a chance as Kamal Hadden?
No, I think he does, but I'm just saying that I don't think Haddon's any worse off.
I just feel like we've got basically what 1, 2, 3, 4 locks at corner. Like there's 4 locks, and they're going to take feasibly 5 or 6 is going to be the max. And Kelvin Joseph's looked pretty good. Like they've just got a lot of talent right there, man. I think they.
Yeah, but then here you are talking about injuries and free agents and stuff. It's like I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just a weird thing to look at, but it's definitely something we'll deep dive further into. I think we're going to have a good talk about that and have a good story for you tomorrow on an episode. So we'll have the full pod for that dropping tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern time or 12 p.m. Central time. So do your boys a favor and be there when that bad boy drops and watch that. Hit that like button. Leave a nice little comment for us. Help us get that video out. But yeah, I think that's what we're getting ready to do is go work on that. So
Yep, it's been a good one.
It's been fun. Now, how's that go?
It's been real and it's been fun. It's not been real fun.
There we go. I couldn't even think of how to do it. I pulled a George W. Bush. I couldn't come up with a saying.
Yeah, you W'd us.
Yeah, but we appreciate you guys.
you guys.
Hit that like button on the way out for us, and we'll catch you next time. Go Chiefs.
There goes a sight from my soul.